The family is the bedrock and lifeline of any society. It is the single most important influence in a child's life. On Family World with Paula, together with credible experts.
There's a thin line between respect and fear. I don't want my children to be afraid of me.
So when you don't respect children, three things will happen. One, they will respect you.
We will be exploring and discussing the many different aspects and issues bordering on the family, ranging from conception, motherhood, fatherhood, parenting, relationships to marriage.
Many people are not really ready for marriage.
We will be celebrating men and women who have survived one family mishap or the other and have them tell their inspiring story. This is the show for everyone who came out from a family structure, already owns a family, or is hoping to start one someday. Join us in this enlightening, informative, entertaining and inspiring show as we take on interesting family topics, no holds barred. Research has shown that when fathers take an interest in their children and spend time with them, their school results are better, and they're less likely to be violent, have a teen pregnancy, or become victims of other adversities. This clearly shows that a father's involvement can impact positively on children. The question is, are today's fathers more eager to take on the job of fatherhood? Are they determined to be less distant and more hands-on than their own fathers were? This is Family World with Paula, and I am your humble host, Paula. Kunle Daniel is the managing director of Gidal K. Daniels International Limited, a dredging company in Nigeria, and he sits on the Alpha Nigeria board. He's currently the PTA chairperson of Green School and serves wholeheartedly on all matters relating to the school. Kunle Daniel is passionate about his family and family values. He's married to his best friend, Esther Daniel, and they have 4 children. Derek Nwafor is the founder and CEO of Solid Light Limited, a provider of energy management and process improvement consulting and training services. Along with his wife, Teju, they recently launched Crystal Media 360, an online media creation and distribution service, and CM360 Radio, an online radio station. They have jointly served in their family church, House on the Rock, Lagos, as parenting and marriage counselors since 2008. Thank you for joining us and welcome to the show.
Well, it's good to be here. Thank you for having us.
Okay, so tell me, has fatherhood evolved? Do you think there's been a change in how you were fathered and how you're fathering your children and in the society generally?
A very good question, actually. I think I'll say most definitely, because I'm a father of 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls. If I have to compare, I was with my father. I'll say I'm much more involved in their lives. I'm much more vocal. I very much in the world, in a sense, which means that beyond just being a father and children, I get to know what's going on in their lives, what their concerns are, what excites them, what their aspirations are. Not for a second implying my father or my parents were not like that, but I just feel that in this day and age, we tend to go probably a step further than our parents did.
A bit extra.
A bit extra.
Okay, and you, Derek, what do you
Pretty
think?
much agree.
Okay.
It's more like pretty much the same thing that in our time, the role in itself, the expectations haven't quite changed, but the approach is different. I think knowledge and a lot of research that has come to light helps people change their approach. So the approach has changed, but the role really hasn't changed much. The role or the approach has changed.
Okay, so when you say approach, give us instances, examples.
How you go about it, the degree of involvement, like Kunle has mentioned.
The degree of involvement, yes.
And the awareness of the impact of not being involved. So I think back then, somehow society compensated, but society has shifted now.
Yeah.
So back in the days when they say it took a village to raise a child, there was a village. But today there isn't that much of a village. It's whoever you've got around you that you might be able to build into some kind of support system in the city that would be able to help you. And if you haven't got that, then it's you, your wife, and whichever support staff you have around.
Okay.
So it's a different mix. So the role of the father, wherever he came short, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and he was sort of like compensated for by an uncle here and an auntie there and a cousin there, all of those gaps become more evident, or have become more evident as society changed in structure between then and now. So now it's become clear to us through research that, if you don't fill that gap, if you don't get more involved, if you don't play all those roles you weren't playing before, the outcomes will be pleasant.
I was just going to ask before you made the point that society changed, and that's why fatherhood has evolved. I was going to ask what do you think has influenced the change? Why has the roles of the father, like you said, the roles are the same, but the approach is different. What has influenced that change? What do you think is responsible for the change?
I mean, I think you touched on the fact that in our time, it took a community to raise a family. But I think in this day and age, if care isn't taken, the global society impacts upon the children. So as opposed to being a community, in the 21st century is actually a global community that impacts upon our children. And God help us as parents if we were detached from the impact of globalization or global media on our children. So what has changed? The impact of media, the fact we're a global society, and the very fact that you can communicate with someone in China in a minute, and also the very fact that I think media for our children is almost like what we had, just pure TV when we were growing up. So the influences and the impact is very much in your face, more so now than ever. So think about it, parents leaving the child in this 21st century, and you don't know what's going on in their minds, or their thoughts, or what's influencing or impacting their lives. Surely, as opposed to you impacting the children, the TV is impacting the children.
The TV,
what you see in social media is impacting the children. So it's really, really important that parents in this day and age are very much involved and not detached the way our parents were.
Quite true.
Yes.
Because it's essentially that number one, there are influences. There are more influences. So back in the day, you didn't have quite as much external, when I say external, I mean really external influence on your children, and now you do. You have your kids going to more places, meeting more people than you could have imagined in those days. So for me, if you don't take that into account, you could end up with challenges in the child's development. So and another thing I thought that you asked what has changed, what has influenced the change, the evolution. Okay, well, look at our society right now. The fact that back in the day we had larger families, we had extended family. Typical home, you have a family living in a maybe 3-bed structure with BQs in the back and an uncle and aunt and so living. But today the average young family is in a smaller unit. Our population as a country has skyrocketed since those days. So you have people living in smaller houses with fewer people. So those are the actual physical realities. You don't have those relatives staying with you, and it's the odd family that actually does have them. So now the reality is those people aren't there anymore. And
they were part of your village in that sense before.
And now you have communities formed in the cities. The cities have swelled.
They're bigger.
Way bigger. And similarities in culture, similarities in background are not quite so easy to find. So you could have people, lots of couples, lots of families living in a multiplex, but shared values, not quite so common. So those are some of the things that have affected the environment in which everything.
So fathers have become more protective.
Have to become.
They have to. Okay.
So.
Good. Okay, so I'm going to just divert a little bit. We're also talking about evolution. Back then in the days, it wasn't common for fathers to be in the delivery room. Okay, so I would like to know, were you in the delivery room with your wife?
I have 4 children.
Yeah.
I can proudly say that for the 4, I was in the delivery room for 3 of them.
For the 3 of them?
Yes, I think the 4.
Round of applause! That's a cast mark! Awesome.
For the 4th, I never released. I think we were in America at the time.
Okay.
And of course, I dropped my wife at the hospital. And I had to take my daughters to a family member's house to drive back to the hospital. When I got back, of course, the baby had come.
But you wanted to be there.
I think I've always wanted to. And I think my motivation could be, I guess, be selfish, because I've always said that. So when I start being naughty, I could say, well, you'll be naughty to your dad. I was there when you came. No, but I think that aside, I think it's takes the man and a wife to bring forth a child. So I think it's just down to common sense that, in my view, that when it comes to the pain or the agony of childbirth, a man or a father should share in that as well.
Yeah.
Although, of course, most times some mothers are very particular about them being seen in that state. And to be fair on that, I think there was actually a study that showed that a certain percentage of men who actually were in the living room and who beheld the glory, as it were, point of intimacy. So, of course, I can understand why some men wouldn't want to do that. And also why some mothers wouldn't want them to be seen in that state. In my case, I mean, it didn't matter.
You're cool. You're fine. Lucky wife you have. She's very lucky. But one thing, was your father in the delivery room?
I don't think he ever was.
You ever was. And you also. Your father was in the delivery room.
I don't think so either. I don't.
Were you there for your kids?
2 out of 3. So
2 out of 3.
So,
okay.
I think we're
almost
at par. So yeah, it was interesting. It was fun.
But that's a progress.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, your fathers were not in the living room with your mothers, but
remember, there were different worlds. In their time, it was a bit of a mystery. You know, there was a time when I don't know how it was done in the olden days. There were midwives that would surround the woman, and the men would just be. It's like it's totally illegal.
You can safely say it was a taboo back then.
Yes, it was completely illegal for you to be anywhere near there. It was a mystery. Just stay out of it.
Yeah.
So with time, knowledge came.
Yes.
And I think that's another. It's really a good chunk of the difference we're talking about between then and now. Is knowledge.
Knowledge, yes.
Yes. So with knowledge, you know that it's possible. You can scrub.
And it has its benefits as well for the mother.
Yes, to be there. So I think for some people over the years, with the entrance of that knowledge, they have braved and met different outcomes in the labor room, different experiences. So there are some people that come up with broken jaws because their wives were in a real fight. Because it's but all the same, I think all said and done, it's a great experience to have.
It is. It's an amazing one.
And if you can't do it, it's a good one to do.
Okay, great. So back to my next questions. We're talking fathers, how fatherhood has changed.
Yeah.
So did any of you change diapers?
Oh goodness! In fact, diapers were like the least. If it was, people would say, oh, it's not a man's place, or it's yucky or something like that. It was not at all for me. I don't know. Maybe a bit of my background is that I think we were not. Fortunately, we were not brought up in such a way that we were out of the loop on the rest of life. It wasn't. So we got familiar with the kitchen.
So basically, you were hands-on.
Thoroughly hands-on. And when they say hands-on for a guy, you tend to talk about fixing things around the house.
No, when we say hands-on with children.
So hands-on with children, hands-on with the childcare.
Yes,
definitely.
with childcare.
So for me, it was everything. In fact, my wife was probably more squeamish than I was. So I grew up the old-fashioned way. If a baby had a blocked nose, you suck it out.
Oh,
so I did that, and my wife would sit and she'd be like horrified. And
I can't even do that. I've never done it before. I've never done it.
So I think I'm at the other extreme. So for me, diapers were. It wasn't a big deal.
It was, yes. It was just part of the whole deal. And
for
you to change diapers. Awesome! I have amazing fathers here.
I was very much involved.
Yeah.
From A to Z, actually. I think from being there when my children being born to, of course, the diaper, the runny nose. I didn't quite go as far as sucking them.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I think we had another lady from the village who came.
Who could do that? They outsourced that part.
Literally everything else I did. Changing
feeding,
diapers, first day at school. Teaching the child, my daughter's a slouch by the bike.
I'm absolutely in love with this. With his dad. This is the 21st century dad. This is our dad. This is role model dad. That's awesome. Okay, so let's get a little bit more serious. Okay, I know you were raised with certain values, and what are those values that you were raised with that you are definitely raising your children with, that you want to pass down, you want to hand down to your children, and you want your children to hand down also to their children? What are those values?
Fantastic question, I think, and in a sense it requires a lot of reflection. I'll say one thing my father and Paula's with was a sense of self-worth. That you don't stop being valuable or important based on what you have or don't have. A sense of dignity as well. You know that what you have, like I said, doesn't define you. And besides, even those things that you do have, you added value to that, don't add value to you.
Yeah.
Also a sense of focus and drive. A sense that you can achieve anything, you can do anything. But I think more fundamentally though, that in your journey up, always make sure that you value people, you respect people on the way up, because if anything should ever go wrong, you all meet those same people on the way down. So yeah, self-worth, dignity, respect. And
you also said that owning things and not things owning
not
you.
Things owning not the other way around.
Exactly. That's awesome.
Giving things the right place and priority, without misplacing the priority.
Okay, great. And then Derek, what would it be for you?
Whoa, I think I would reiterate the value of people, of life, and enjoying life. I think, funny enough, apart from ethics, one of the most lasting lessons that just comes to mind in my life personally, or from my dad, was just the joy of celebrating life and being happy that you're alive, related to not being dependent on things, not deriving your joy from things, but deriving your joy from being. And being the best of yourself and everything. One of the very, very key lessons that he taught us very, very practically was industry. Working, creating, being productive in very small things, which end up adding up into big things. So I think right from an early age, we had responsibilities. It was just default, we didn't have a family meeting where they said, "Oh, you've got these chores." Or I don't remember anyone sharing work or anything like that. But we all got used to doing things.
How are you replicating that in your children?
With us now, it's clear again. We again, it wasn't like we actually had like a chart or a family meeting, but I just took our home and we split it up, and we said everyone that lives in this home is a part of it and contributes to it. So immediately you can start doing something for someone else. Start doing it. So it could now take the shape of chores. It could take shape of jobs if you wanted to. But at the end of the day, the lifestyle of being productive, doing things, creating things, and engaging with people through the things you do. Was one major thing that I took away from him that I've passed on to my people. Apart from the ethics, the ethics thing. They didn't, they would beat you black and blue if you did anything wrong, and if you ever told a lie and all that. But and that's how you learn not to lie and not to do anything wrong. But beyond that industry, hard work, discipline, and all that.
Okay. So now on the flip side, so what is that thing? What are those things that your parents, or your father specifically, did with you that you will not do with your children?
Derek,
Derek should go first.
Well, I know one straight up, and it's not really like it was a bad thing or anything. I think to my father's credit, I will say that he never actually got physical with any of us. He never actually hit anyone in our home, in my recollection. But what I know he didn't do that I am doing is talking with my children about everything. So, especially, with him, he spoke about lots of things, but sex, money, the opposite of the life we want to have, or the life we want our kids to have, he never really spent time, he never bothered.
Do you speak to your children about sex, the girls?
I speak to both my kids.
The boys?
I have a 4-year-old. She's not yet come into that neighborhood like that. But we've done the sex education for like a 4-year-old, where you teach them about like you have private parts and public parts. So she's got that.
And you were involved in that?
Oh yes.
Oh.
So no, You keep saying finding it amazing that but really.
Yes, I find it amazing because it's not common. It's not the regular. It's not what you see out there. And so when you see someone who's doing something different, I encourage what you're doing because you're basically taking responsibility. You are hands-on. You're not leaving anything for chance, and you're not thinking it's the mother's responsibility. So there's ownership invested that we can see. You know.
Exactly.
So I'm impressed. Yeah.
So I would say okay. So like we were saying, we said earlier that the role hasn't changed, and the definition of the role is actually just what you said: leadership. You know, that shows itself in responsibility.
Yeah.
So if anything is going to be done in your home, the head of the home should lead it.
Yeah.
So leadership means doing.
Doing.
Then you do it first, then your wife could back you up, or and all that. But if you don't do it first, then it's all lip service. And I keep telling people, your children will do what you do.
I digress.
Not what you say.
I digress.
Okay.
He said something very fundamental.
Yeah.
You said leadership is doing. In our part of the world, Nigeria particularly, people think leadership is instructing. Leadership is
barking out the orders,
telling other people what to do. Leadership is not by living by example. It's you have to do this, you have to do that. And that's how some fathers are. They tell their children, don't do this, don't do that. But they're not living their talk. You need to live your talk if you're a father.
Precisely.
Yes. And when children watch you, they watch you. And you never know when they're watching you. They watch your every move. You just don't know. They don't take permission from you when they're watching you. So they watch you when you least expect it. And they're studying you. Yes. And so if you want to lead, you have to lead by doing, walking your talk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed our show, find us and connect with us on social media. We would love to hear from you. Our social media handles are on your screen.